Fireside chat series with Ayush from Huddle01. Ayush is a young and promising entrepreneur going after an intriguing vision, and we'll let him share a bit about his journey, what Huddle01 means to him, and Ayush, take it. Tell us who you are.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Akshay. First of all, I've been following blockchain India for a while now, and I'm a big admirer of the work which you guys do. And that's also one of the ways in which I entered into the space. So yeah, shout out to you guys. Uh, yeah, moving on. So Huddle01 is basically a decentralized video conferencing solution which solves for engagement for participants in the video conferencing, followed by economical video storage for people who want to store their data.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, so expand into that. So, what do you mean by economical video storage? And all of the different aspects of the product.
Got it. So, so basically, we all know that we all use Zoom for a while now. Post COVID, it has been one of the major using platforms, and hands down, it's one of the best platforms in terms of usage. So right now, it's no surprise that more than 400 million people use Zoom on a daily basis. Now, uh, but the problem is that Zoom is used by everyone, but it doesn't fit anyone. So basically, it's a good horizontal product, but in terms of vertical, it's not great. It doesn't cater the purpose of any particular vertical. Just for an example, an academic institution has teachers with they are teaching with the students of more than 50 to 100 participants, and uh, the problem is that the engagement is really low. Now this is because you cannot the features which are there are not very engaging. There is no feature like collaborative note making, good way of collaborative note making. You can drop down assignments really easily. So those features are not there, and even the raise hand feature, even the feature if you want to wave something, yeah, so these are something which haven't been solved yet, and it doesn't feel a lot like an offline experience. We are still very far away from an offline experience. And so our small attempt here is just to make that online experience bit more closer to the offline experience. So that's what we are trying to solve using Huddle01, trying to go after the engagement so that instead of just two students switching on their video camera and everyone else switching it off, everyone switches it on and are having some good time there. That's number one. Secondly, the storage part, which I mentioned. Basically, currently 80% of the internet is based out of video. Now, out of that 80%, surprisingly, only 7% of the videos get stored. The reason behind that is simple. It's not very cheap right now. Talking about Zoom, for example, right now, you get 1 GB of cloud storage for free. Post that, you have to buy additional storage, which is not very sustainable for an average daily Joe user. That could be solved using one of the stack which we use in our platform, which is called Filecoin. What Filecoin does is that it's nothing but an Airbnb for storage. It's a decentralized storage network where miners rent their storage, and users like us put the data on that. Now it's way cheaper. Right now it's almost 10x cheaper than Amazon default S3, and that's what we are using. So comprising of engagement and storage, that's what we think makes Huddle a good platform to use. Yeah.
That's amazing to hear, Ayush. But before I sort of zoom in into other aspects of the product, it seems really intriguing. Uh, but I like to take a step back and understand where are you coming from. What's your background story? How did you get into the blockchain space? Because most of us in the community are kind of at the edge wherein probably we're either looking to start up, either looking to enter into the development bandwagon, I want to just start learning about blockchain, right? So you would love the audience, or it will give a sense to the audience and help relate better to your story. How did you get into blockchain? What's the attraction about?
Got it. Yeah. So the story is that I have been a growth marketer for the past 4 years. I particularly specialize in advertising and analytics, mainly Facebook ads, Google ads, and I've been doing that since 2015 early. And basically, while doing Facebook advertisement, Google advertisement, what I understood was that though I have a superpower to target n number of consumers who come to my platform and just show them the ads wherever they go, whenever they go, that made me realize that the way we are doing advertising is not great. There is something which is broken here, and people's attention is still not getting captured in spite of bombarding them like 100x times. So I was looking for solutions, and I found out that that Brendan Ike from Brave, who is the founder of JavaScript, basically was working on again this Brave software, which was a blockchain based digital ad exchange. And what they do is that it's a browser where you they don't track you, they block all the malicious advertisements, and they every JavaScript which is anyway malign is not being passed on to you. So I was like, okay, this is amazing. This is something which I should put my hands into. And since I already had my hands red, with blood red hands on using these advertising platforms, I'm like, okay, let's do something which is ethical for me. And then I went into Brave. I deep dive into it. I worked in their community for past 3 months.
That's,
This world, yeah, and that's how I went into the blockchain space. And I was
by
like,
the way, everyone, I'm using Brave to sort of access this medium, right? So Brave is an amazing tool. I would recommend everyone to go. I think a couple of things that I really like about Brave is kind of it helps you attach your crypto wallet. It's attached, you know, rewarded for browsing content, right? So on that aspect, I think it's brilliant to earn while you're surfing the internet. And apart from that, you could tip some content producers. So there's a bunch of things happening around what Brave's doing. It's quite amazing. I wish you were involved. Contribute kind of like a contributor to the Brave journey.
yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to Brendan Ike, Luke Mules, and the entire team of Brave. So I just pinged them on Twitter that guys, I really love your work, and they were very happy to respond. The best thing about Brave is that even if you face any kind of issue in your browser, the main developer directly calls you, and amazing. Uh, Best thing about Brave is that it channelizes your attention. There is no way to track you other than just the in local machine learning which they do. That is, if you are typing something on the DuckDuckGo browser,
Hmm.
they just take that and they send you the ads based on that, and their click through rate is over 10%, which is amazing. This is in Google or Facebook, it's less than 1%. So you can just see the difference once attention and incentivization comes into picture. And that's why I was like, okay, wow, blockchain is something amazing. Let's go deep into it, and let's see what else is there. And that's how I ended up going into ETH Global Hackathon in the month of July. And that's how the journey of Huddle01 started.
Okay, amazing. But that was one of the questions right? Just to ask you, what the starting point of the journey seems like, winning a hackathon. Is that so? Tell us about the experience.
Yeah, so Huddle01 took birth in ETH Global Hackathon. So the journey is really very simple in terms of we didn't know that we'll be going after a decentralized video conferencing sector. It's just that while we were in ETH Global Hackathon, we realized that okay, we are talking a lot about decentralization, about blockchain, but you know what? We are still using Zoom for doing all the meetings. So we're like, okay, let's do something cool here. Let's start by building a peer-to-peer video conferencing solution in which 3 4 people come together and do that. And
Hmm.
we ended up building that, and thankfully or we got a validation from Ethereum Foundation, from Protocol Labs, from Unstoppable Domains, and we started using all these stack, and we built a good MVP. uh,
Hmm.
Worked really well. So yeah, that's how it started.
Awesome. So I'm guessing then the platforms based on Ethereum,
Mhm.
for smart contracting.
Right. So currently, since we are using Ethereum smart contracts for all the ratings for anyone who wants to rate us for using, let's suppose they use the platform. So since there is no server involved right now, there is no blockchain in between right now because it's all peer to peer. So
Mm-hmm.
anybody wants to talk. What we do is that there is only one server involved. That's the signaling server. So my ICE configuration, my SDP gets basically recognized and then sent to the signaling server, and then you and I connect. So there is no component, no routing which is happening in between. So the latency is really low.
Right.
In future, we have to use blockchain because we have to scale this. A peer-to-peer network is not scalable.
Mm-hmm.
To scale more than 100 people, we have to set up our own nodes, and that's what we are doing an R&D on. We'll be building on Ethereum blockchain, but right now we are thinking of setting up. We are R&Ding on setting up our own node, so
Mm-hmm.
that these nodes basically connect to each other using the protocol and binding that protocol with incentivization layer. But yeah, Ethereum is the one which we'll be using.
Sure. And I think, Shadrach compliments you by saying the success of any technology solution must comprise of its ability to solve real people's problem, right? And that is the way it delivers real value. So, well done on this. That's, one of the community members sort of giving you, thumbs up.
Thanks,
Uh,
Shadrach.
yeah. So getting back to sort of the building journey, what are some of the highs and the lows in this small time that you've built Huddle 01 as a product?
Yeah, so in terms of lows, there have been there have been daily lows. Because yeah, since you are starting up, you always feel some kind of thing which gets stuck. Your timelines are not hit. That's really something which you think you'll hit initially on, because you have so much excitement that you think that okay, I'll do this in this particular timeline. It doesn't happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
uh, the high is especially the main crest is the time when we won that Ethereum Foundation prize and the Protocol Labs audio track prize.
Mm-hmm.
Once people were talking on our platform, they noticed that the latency is almost zero, and a person who is talking from a village talking to a person in US, we noticed that the latency was so less that we got real comments on that. So that was the best high for us. And yeah.
That's quite amazing because early on in the journey, everybody expects you to keep, breaking or, the system, to get, sort of stop working. But there you were, wherein, you won like an audio track prize. Seems like, the signaling, all of, the communication worked, transmission worked properly in the product at the first go. But kudos to you for that.
Yeah, thanks. I think I have to give a shout out to my CTO, Sushmit. He's the one who had the major brains behind it, playing around with the protocol, playing around with WebRTC and others. So yeah, shout out to. Yeah,
So we got to get him onto taking a session at one of the blockchain India meetup. That,
absolutely.
that's more about the techies and learning from the doers. I guess we're going to keep inviting you to the business discussions and him to sharing a bit of knowledge with the rest of the community. But yeah, back into understanding about the product. So seems like social aspect is one of the key things for adoption of Huddle 01, right? And mainly I think people are really focused on either decentralization on or privacy as an aspect. Do you think three of them combined would get you the right amount of audience at first? What are the numbers like, or have you launched what's give us a background of that?
That's right. So yes, so basically, in my opinion, decentralization, people are actually more interested about the aspects of decentralization, like lower latency. So how decentralization is helping us is that our frame drops would be lower, uh,
Mm-hmm.
latency would be lower. Currently, the latency in India, if you're talking about a person talking from US to India, it's generally around 200 milliseconds. We believe that those could be reduced to less than 100 milliseconds using the blockchain and using decentralization.
Mm-hmm.
Going into privacy, indeed, privacy is a concern. There have been a lot of instances we have seen on Twitter regarding Zoom bombing and regarding which happen. That's something which we are looking very closely into, and that's something which we still have to solve, but it's on the top of our agenda. A
Mhm.
third which I want to focus on is again the social aspect which you mentioned. That's more towards engagement, taking it, having a better offline experience. People feeling that okay, this looks very, that I am doing a networking, a round table networking inside my own office, or in
Mhm.
own networking launch, and that's what we are trying to aspire for. That people feel a bit more closer towards offline, and that's why the name is Huddle, that you come together. And 01 is just a philosophical, that 01 is more data, so it's offline, so online, so Huddle 01. That's
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah, that's quite amazing. So, what are the numbers like? Have you pushed the product? Have you tried,
Mhm.
getting some people to use it?
Yeah. So basically, on our currently on our MVP, which we had launched, it can scale up to, right now. It can scale up. We have our own node setup. It can scale up to 80 to 100 participants. The numbers which we have seen so far, it's basically we have crossed that early chasm of 100 users. It's not much, but we have, and the average video duration, the time they spend on the platform, is basically 7 minute 15 seconds. So that's the long time which they do meeting on. The average meeting time is near 28 minutes on an average. So that's what we are aspiring to, that it increases to a threshold above 28 minutes. That's our North Star metric which we are going after.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And so I'm not sure if you looked at applications like House Party, or there's like a TO which sort of gives you like a VR based meetup platform. Then we have AirMeet, which is kind of our homegrown a meetup platform doing very well as well. So kind of do you relate to any particular strategy of getting to, more users, or do you have any plan as such to cater to a particular segment of
Mhm.
people?
That's right. So yeah, as you mentioned, Airmeet actually hit the nail really well. They went after the sector which is very intriguing for anyone between 16 to 35 or 40 who do a lot of networking,
Hmm.
something like that. So they are also doing that verticalization of Zoom, basically going after one vertical. That one vertical which we think right now will go after is edtech, is basically academic institutions uh,
Hmm.
who actually use Zoom right now. Uh, but the engagement is really low. We had a chat with many academic professors, admin staffs of universities, directors. Their only concern is that, you know what, we are paying on a per license basis of $15 per month. Uh, and that too multiplied by the number of teachers which are there in their institute, which is greater than 50 in most cases. So they spend around $1,000 per month, and the engagement is really low. Nobody is switching on their videos, so they are to pay some more, but they need something which is having a better engagement. So like collaborative note making is not there the way. So that's the market in which we are going after, first of all, trying to achieve our product market fit into the academic institutions, and
Hmm.
go after the other market as well once we achieve some kind of monthly revenue.
Sure. I remember seeing something around, virtual workspaces, because, realizing that, co-working spaces aren't kind of, the safest of spots to work together, and
Mhm.
since, a major amount of, workforce is working from home these days, kind of just the idea of getting people together in virtual workspaces, making it attractive. Probably that's something that you could also, get some inspiration from.
Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. So again, we are in a very early stage. We are doing a lot of customer calls, but yeah, this is something we should explore on. We should talk to more users. So that's what we are trying to do. We are trying to talk to people to validate our hypothesis, so that building the product in an echo chamber, we have some kind of validation. So yeah, other than academic professors, I think we should talk to these communities as well.
Absolutely, and you're welcome to come anytime. Share the product with the blockchain India community on our various forums. We would love to give feedback. I feel all of us are really supportive to entrepreneurs building promising products like yours. right? But getting back into something that I've heard a lot, right? And you've probably spoken to a couple of influencers directly on this particular point as well. That when you talk about decentralized or privacy focused products, the audience is not yet evolved, or you don't see as many numbers. And we've seen some walkouts, like that of True Story,
Mhm.
right? And really products that people were looking forward for using, but then we realized that there wasn't much traction. And
Mhm.
is there something that bothers you at this point of your product journey?
That's a great question, Akshay. So yeah, we have thought a lot about how do we basically, since privacy is something which actually needs a lot of development effort as well, because once you are going forward with privacy, your latency might go on a toss.
Mm-hmm.
Balance between latency and privacy. And if you're going after privacy plus latency,
Mm-hmm.
a high cost. Now, will people pay for that high cost? That's the number one question. Uh, Currently, based on the metrics which we are seeing, even from DuckDuckGo, even from the numbers are good. The numbers are good. People are going forward with privacy is a concern for them. They are ready to pay for that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I won't be able to comment on the Indian market, but on the US market, I believe, and we have seen in many communities in which we talk to, that yes, people are ready to pay for privacy. They need that. They need that the data should be owned themselves. They want to store the data uh, uh, on a platform in which they feel safe, and that's why we have come together with Filecoin, integrating our stack with them rather than using Amazon S3, so that the data, because the privacy will be much better and you will feel more like an owner of your own data.
Absolutely, and I think I'm particularly one of those folks that probably will pay because you mentioned about Brave. That's the browser I'm using. You mentioned about DuckDuckGo. That's the search engine I'm using as well. So yeah, I mean I can definitely see myself paying a little bit. I'm
Mhm.
not sure how high the cost could be, right? But yeah, India is a price sensitive market, and as you said, the West probably might be an early adopter in that sense, right? And do you have any tokenization mechanism to the whole product, or is that a part of the product journey as you see it in the immediate future?
Yeah, that's a good question, Akshay. So yes, we are thinking around the tokens lines, which we have to, because we'll be building our own, building the blockchain on Ethereum. So we will have our own nodes. Now, for those nodes to communicate and to have an incentive layer, uh, token. But that's something which is an year down the line plan. First, our first focus is to get a product market fit.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and for that, we'll be following a progressive decentralization approach. We won't be going full blown decentralization from the word today, because that will delay our overall development of getting users on board. So we'll
Mm-hmm.
be centralized approach first, and with time and we have aspects of decentralization, and then we'll be decentralizing in an year end. So after an year, by that time we'll have our incentive mechanism set, we'll have our node set up, we'll understand that what kind of incentives work best, how much staking will people do. So that's all in the plans, but in the later half of 2021.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Back in 2018 December, 2019 Jan. We coined the terms such as conscious decentralization. At Blockchain India, with the idea of uh, the application sort of fit in a spectrum of things. It's not like a zero or a one, complete decentralization or complete centralization, but it's kind of like you can think of centralized worlds that we lived in. You know, sort of area where applications that are partially centralized or partially decentralized, right, could fit in, and then probably completely decentralized applications. And we see applications in the future fitting into all three kinds of areas, and particularly decentralized applications traveling from the far end of centralized paradigms to with time decentralized completely after a certain point in time. And I see that's kind of something that Huddle01 vision kind of parallels in some sense.
That's right.
Right?
That's
That's amazing to hear. So, I think that's great. If you want to share two bits, anything that we have missed about your product, would love to get into that. Or
right.
otherwise, I have some rapid fire questions to make this a little more interesting for our audience.
Okay, that's great. So I think I just have one thing which I think I mentioned, but it's something which is really really something which everyone watching the stream and will watch later should look after.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, I can't stress more on how much important Filecoin would be in future. They are a decentralized storage network and they just crossed 1,000 petabytes of data,
Mm-hmm.
stored around 1,000 petabytes of data on Filecoin, and this right now the costing of Filecoin is 1/10 of that of Amazon S3. So
Mm-hmm.
that's something which I believe everyone should check it out,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll love it. Yeah.
Sure. That's quite interesting, and I think you have to give credit for kind of the gratitude that you show to kind of all these products that you've been using or have inspired you along your journey. Right, that's amazing to see. You're it's rare that people sort of show that genuine appreciation for products that have influenced them. So kudos to you for that also, Ayush. Again, now getting back into a fun session. So this
Mhm.
is going to be. I think everybody is sort of aware of rapid fire questions, but just to highlight a quick question, whatever is the first thing that comes to your mind, share that. You do not get a lot of time to think. All right.
Okay, let's
Okay.
go.
So starting with your idol in the blockchain and crypto space.
I would say Balaji Srinivas.
Oh wow, is that over Brendan Ike?
Is that over Brent? Oh, okay, that's a tough question.
Okay, we'll come back to that one. Right. So, what about some of the podcasts or blogs that you follow to keep yourself updated?
Okay, so podcast, Bankless, hands down.
Mhm.
In terms of blog, Preeti Kasi Reddy's blog, followed by her email course, which she recently started. That's amazing. Yeah.
Just because you mentioned Preeti Kasiredi, you've grabbed the chance online to win a conversation with her. I guess it was with a Twitter sort of poll or something. Tell us a bit about that.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, she was starting her own newsletter, her email course, which is a free email course on cryptocurrency basics.
Uh-huh.
I have been following her for the past 2 years because she's the person who thinks on first principles on a very foundational level and very lucid and easy language that everyone
Absolutely.
can. So I was like, okay, this she had an option that if you share these news, her email to 10 people, uh,
Mhm.
people sign up for her course, you earn a 1 hour session. So I was fortunate that I sent to many people, and yeah, that happened, and the call went really well. In
Uh-huh.
the basically we discussed a lot about the crypto world, where it is going. How what do you think regarding India's regulation? What do you think regarding that? And yeah, she was also optimistic that eventually in India also things will come in a much things will be much more faster, uh, and yeah, basically she was very bullish on India's trend, that okay, India, in the way India is developing products,
Mhm.
it's amazing. uh, Post that, we discussed about True Story, we discussed about her journey during the True Story and what she felt. The product was a bit early to the market, and yeah, post that, she's also a very good health. She has a very good command over health and nutrition. So we discussed on those lines as well, that what is a good for a founder, because she has been a founder. So I asked her that being a founder, I'm not getting much sleep. I sleep 6 hours a day. I don't have a erratic, very good schedule. It's very erratic in nature. So
I
she
I truly admire the hustle. I think that's very rare to see an entrepreneur going all the way in so many directions. And you're just a living example of how a Twitter poll or a hackathon or anything you get, you sort of let's give it a shot and see what comes out of it, right? Kind of an inspiration to everyone else who's watching and looking to start up,
Mhm.
somewhere down their journey. But again, so tell me about your thoughts around whether Bitcoin seems rightly priced around 18K USD mark right now. Is that justified?
Mm, I won't be able to comment on the justification yet, but I would say that there are a lot of new entrants to the market, and that has created a lot of. There will be a correction, which I feel for sure,
Mm-hmm.
because entrants have been huge, and I myself have been a good proxy for that. I have received almost 20 people WhatsApp on my phone that, okay, do you think it's a good time to go into Bitcoin? And though I've said that wait for some time, refrain, don't go into the Twitter hype. Uh,
Uh-huh.
you still invested, so I feel that's a good. So that's something which is happening all across the globe. So
Uh-huh.
there will be a correction in Bitcoin price, and it will obviously. I have seen the Tyler Winklevoss's and that 500K Bitcoin, and I fully believe that Bitcoin is the next store of value, no question. So it will reach that.
So your correction is probably upwards and not downwards.
No, my correction is right now to more towards 15K for right now, but in the long term it will go to. So people who are investing right now may get their hands burnt on
Uh-huh.
day moving average.
Mm-hmm.
If they're holding it, it's good. But people want to make money out of it in next 90 days, and that's something which is very risky, which I feel.
Okay, we've got a thumbs up for you. And yeah. So again, again back to the rapid fire round. Some influences you follow in this space.
Okay, so I follow Yuan Bennett, the founder of Filecoin. I follow Balaji, as I mentioned, Brendan Ike, and yeah, people, the founders of Bankless. They have good command over Ethereum and what Ethereum will look forward in future, and then Vitalik, obviously. So followed by I follow a bit about on Tim Draper. He doesn't tweet a lot, but yeah, I follow him.
Mhm.
Yeah, I keep a tab on Blockchain India.
That I knew that was coming after the quirky smile that was there on your face. But yeah, Tim.
I really liked the conversation which you had with Tim Draper, uh,
Mhm.
and yeah, that was the time when I was actually moving into the space, like
Yeah,
so it actually gave me a lot of uh, confidence that because I needed quality content, and that was it.
that's amazing. But would be happy to put you in touch with him. I think I guess I've already led kind of like your deck to the team and Tim himself. But yeah, along your journey, when it's the right time, would be happy to push it again, connect you guys. I think with Tim, one of the best things is he's quite into the future with his thinking. And when I was building the live streaming company and had a like regulatory issue from the App Store on Apple's side, here Tim and some of the other investors at Draper Associates were key towards me jumping into the crypto and blockchain space, right? So again, the other people I keep following as well, but yeah, on to the Tim's particular influence, I would say that's a lot onto my mind, as well as pretty much like yours, right? Back into sort of the rapid fire questions. If you were to put in all your money in a token, which one will it be? This is like your time to speculate.
I would say Ethereum. Uh,
Sure.
Yeah, the reason would be the way DeFi has exploded. It has made ETH gone parabolic. More
Hmm.
than the NFTs, the non-fungible tokens, the way they will be expanding, I think it will again make it parabolic because the way gaming is combining with NFTs right now. I think people spend around 100 billion, more than $100 billion on buying gaming products.
Hmm.
Uh, any feature, any reward, and that's something which NFTs could go after that market and would be great. Uh,
Hmm.
Followed by social tokens. So these three things culminate into a massive parabola of how Ethereum will look like. So yeah, Ethereum.
So before I carry on with the rest of the questions, but I think you mentioned some real interesting points.
Mhm.
Give me some thoughts around with DeFi. A lot of people are saying Ethereum has become the ground instead of one of the grounds, right?
Mhm.
Do you think with Polkadot joining, many chains, or Cosmos having like a multi-chain kind of an interoperable future, do you think DeFi would be pretty much restricted around Ethereum, or do you think it's going to be more than just one chain in that sense?
I think it will be agnostic. And why I say that is based on the community itself. So just in terms of value, I'm talking about in DeFi. I think not even value. I'll talk because value is something which is a vanity metric. I'll talk about the numbers in terms of the DeFi users right now in the space. I think there are more than 1 million people who are using, who have been an active user of the DeFi space, which is a good number and it has climbed up rapidly. So
Hmm.
I uh, being multi-agnostic is in the picture, and I think DeFi is here to stay.
That makes sense. That absolutely makes sense. Right.
Yeah.
So, multi-chain and DeFi will
Mhm.
definitely lead the way. I think I echo those thoughts
Mhm.
as well. Right. But again, Ethereum all the way in terms of investment. Right. Okay. So again, you mentioned about social tokens. Tell me, introduce the idea of social tokens from your perspective to our audience.
Okay, that's great. So again, let's circle back from the privacy angle. So basically, there are a lot of free content in the market, and some of them free content is not because the authors or the musicians or these people want it for free. It's because they get out,
Mhm.
and the way to stop that, they get out on YouTube, or they have to make it live on YouTube so that they can earn through ads. Now earning through ads on YouTube is a good medium, but just in terms of numbers, you need 10 million views to have almost 40,000 to earn almost $40,000, uh, and $40,000, and that's the yearly I'm talking about. And to reach 10 million viewers, it's a lot. And that $40,000 is also the initial starting point in the US. So it's a very low salary. When
Mhm.
you're that, you can have social tokens where if you are a musician, if you are any kind of creator and people like your content, you can just have kind of your own social token that okay, my I'm Ayush, I'm a great guitar player, this is my token. Please, if you want to visit, my website is www.ayush.com. If you want to visit that, you need this token. Please buy that token and use my platform to your will. So these uh, basically the paywalls in the terms of social tokens could be the future for emerging musicians. For example, so far is a great
I
uh,
know.
yeah. So basically, those people can actually earn a lot of money, uh,
Mhm.
and they could survive, which is not happening right now, in my opinion.
Absolutely, and I think that's pretty much kind of why tokens, or decentralization also gives some revenue source. Definitely a lot more than what they're getting to content producers or artists, right? So completely agree with you on that. I think some most of the points that you're sharing are kind of like things that I think about. So you're speaking truly my mind right now, right? Okay, so decentralized exchanges or centralized exchanges, which one do you prefer and which one are you using?
So decentralized exchanges are the future, and I love Uniswap. Uh,
Hmm.
but centralized exchanges are here to stay.
Okay, all right. So you're using centralized.
I'm using both.
You're using both. Okay, so which one is the centralized one that you prefer?
No, I'm not using centralized right now. Okay,
Okay.
it's done. I'm not using centralized right now. I'm using
All right,
I,
all right. So
yeah,
okay, so again, no word of confidence to any centralized exchanges, and pretty much takes away most of the ones in India. Then
yeah, right.
okay, so an entrepreneur and public figure outside of the blockchain space could be sort of overlining as well.
Mhm.
But such a figure that you follow or admire the most, for guidance in your life.
Okay. To think about, okay, I can't think, right? So the thing which comes to my mind is Elon Musk. The reason behind that is uh, the way he manages between multiple, the way he has focus while building multiple products like Boring Company, like Tesla, like SpaceX, and these are something which are big shots. If your rocket blasts in between, you have to still focus on your Tesla stocks, which is going up or down. So
Hmm.
that which I really admire. Post that, I want to something which I don't see publicly because he has passed away. But Andrew Grove, the ex CEO of Intel, I
Hmm.
managerial skills are really awesome, and I am hands down a fan of him. So the book which I basically, how high output management is the book which I read, in which I got to know that the way he manages the stuff of Intel, it's amazing.
Hmm.
So yeah, basically these two people, Andrew Grove and Elon Musk.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, talking about the last question in the rapid fire round, how do you keep yourself motivated?
Uh, So I create mini idols from Twitter. Twitter is a great source of inspiration for me. So for any time I feel a bit down, I have a few people on Twitter whom I follow with a push notification on, so that anytime they tweet, I get that notification. So these people, they change every year based on my interests, but yeah, so every five people with push notifications on of their profile, whenever they tweet, I see that they are very optimistic tweets and I really like them. So yeah, that's how I keep myself.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, finally, I would like you to conclude with, one statement. Probably, it can be an ask from your side. Uh,
Mhm.
you know, that, and then, what do you recommend to, entrepreneurs or, kind of like, aspiring entrepreneurs getting into the decentralized space? Both things from your side.
Great. So yeah, a small shell from my side would be uh, that yeah, we are coming up. Our product would be live by December mid or December end, and would love to share with the Blockchain India community. So would love you guys if you try that. Post pre that, I would love that if you guys could follow us on Twitter, because that's where we update ourselves that whatever things we have come up with, what are the features we are coming up with, and any kind of comment there would really go a long way to validate us. Uh, Regarding some suggestions, what I have, I'll just focus on what I learned. Basically, focus on instead of blockchain and cryptocurrency is amazing, and it's a groundbreaking thing which will define our future. So, just not thinking in terms of investment, or if anything is going up or down, either it's Ethereum or Bitcoin. If you think backwards, that which technology you love in. For example, I my first cryptocurrency which I bought was BAT and not Bitcoin or Ethereum, and that was because I really loved BAT. So if you think in a backward direction, you will be staying in the space for long and you will love more. So yeah.
Absolutely, that's quite amazing. So, with that, I'd like to conclude this session. Thanks, Ayush, for coming. I'll definitely pass on the links to your social media channels, right? And would love it if you can say hi to some of our community members on various forums. But thanks again for joining. Uh, hope all of you had an amazing time. Kudos to Ayush and Team Huddle01. We'll be back with another session next week. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank